Today's meeting to order for August 11, 2026. Roll call, please. Sorry, pledge of allegiance, sorry. Councilmember Brody, please.
Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Mendez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Garnica.
Present.
Councilmember Brogy.
Here.
Councilmember Villaseñor. Here. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Here. Thank you. Moving on to number 4, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item number 6, public comments. Before we begin public comment, I want to explain how this section of the meeting works.
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but number 5, presentations.
Oh, yeah, sorry. 5A, United Water Conservation. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Sorry about that.
Good evening, Mayor Mendez and the rest of the council. Thank you so much for having me here tonight to just give you a little bit of information, because United Water Conservation District has a bond measure, and that's going to impact every resident in Fillmore. So I want to make sure that the correct information is out, because we all know misinformation is definitely a thing, and I want to make sure that you guys have answers to questions that you may have, and then of course I'm here if the public has questions as well afterwards. So to get started, it's Measure D, and it's Water Supply Conservation and Water Quality Bond Measure, and it will be on the November 3rd ballot. Just a little bit about United Water Conservation District. I'm going to go over this pretty quickly because I feel like you guys probably know who we are. Our service area extends from LA County line all the way to the coast, and Fillmore is kind of square in the middle. And so we have Lake Piru. Let's see if I can get this to work. Oh yeah. Right there. And now this. No, never mind. All right, so Lake Piru is up at the top. And then we have this Piru Creek and the Santa Clara River, and everything flows on down. At the base of Lake Piru, we have Santa Felicia Dam. Oftentimes people think it's Lake Piru Dam, but actually it's called Santa Felicia Dam. And for that, we have the Santa Felicia Dam Safety Improvement Project. Because in 1955, when this dam was built, seismic standards were a little bit different than they are today, and we need to ensure that we're up to today's current standards. From there, it goes down to it goes through Fillmore, refilling the Piru-Fillmore basins, and then down to the Freeman Diversion, where it goes into our Oxnard spreading basins at Satacoy, and then through to El Rio. The challenge that we're facing right now is that we have 3 very specific critical parts of our water system that all require upgrades. These are not upgrades that we choose to do. We know that sometimes you choose to do things to enhance your community, all fair. These are things that are required and put upon us by either the Department of Safety of Dams, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, the National Marine Fisheries Service biological opinion, or our groundwater management plan that's put in place by California, and then of course we created the plan with Fox Canyon GMA. So these are not wish to haves, these are needs to haves. And part of that is, and I know you guys have been presented about the Santa Felicia Dam Safety Improvement Project before, so I won't belabor the point, but basically we're taking our intake, and instead of having that run through the middle of the dam, we're having it run around the dam. And the reason why we're doing that is because 237,000 people live downstream in that flood pathway, and state and federal regulators have deemed it a high hazard or extremely high hazard dam because of what is downstream. The dam's been well maintained, so we don't have to do anything else to the dam other than move that intake around to the side and then drop the spillway. We're actually able to maintain those 2 edges of the spillway because we've maintained it so well. So we just have to increase the flood capacity based on the recent storms that we continue to see get more and more aggressive. And the cost of that is only $314 million. Yay, only that. Yeah, no, it's quite a bit of money, and we have gone after grants. We've definitely gone to our state legislators, we've gone to our federal legislators, and we have secured some grants, but it's just not enough. Again, with the Freeman Diversion Improvement Project, this is how we recharge most of the groundwater in the Oxnard Plain, is through this diversion off the Santa Clara River. We do have a working fish ladder, however, the National Marine Fisheries Service has said not good enough, needs to be better in order to continue operating this diversion, which is a critical part of our system. That is running at $104 million. And then we have the Extraction Barrier and Brackish Water Treatment Project that will, in collaboration with all of these other projects, actually stop seawater intrusion on the Oxnard Plain, which back in 1991, when the Freeman Diversion was built, was predicted to hit all the way to the 101. So it's quite a different story that we're telling today. And this will be located in collaboration with the Navy at Naval Base Piru. So Naval Base Ventura County, Piru. Not Piru. Magoo, Point Magoo, merging Piru and Magoo. So again, the combined cost of these projects is $469 million, but we have secured grant funding at $31.5 million, and we're still looking under every SOFA cushion. And then we've also secured a WIFIA loan, and that's at $83 million, which leaves a remaining gap of $354 million. So that's why our bond measure is coming in at $350 million. How that works is that we vote on November 3rd whether or not we want that to move forward. The vote required to pass is a 2/3 vote because this is a bond measure, and that bond measure total again is $350 million. The bonds would be issued over 3 years. That's what we're looking at, is to get that money up front, because we have projects that are ready to be built. These projects you've seen the engineering plans. You know that they're ready to go. We do need just the funding at this point. Then after those projects are built, we would repay those bonds starting in 2028 at around $24 per $100,000 of valuation. For the average home at about $501,000, which is what we looked at, is about $121 a year. So just to kind of, I'm not gonna, yes. It's $121 for the average household per year on their property taxes.
Assuming $500,000 valuation.
Exactly. So, because I feel like this is one of the most important pieces of information, we've actually done a second slide just on this because I know it's critical for us to understand. So again, the projected tax rate is $24 per $100,000 of valuation a year. And then when we did look at the average home, which was about $501,000, that's where we came up with the $121 a year for the average homeowner, which is roughly $10 a month. Because this is a property tax, there's no new direct tax to renters. It's whatever your landlord decides to charge you. And the tax begins in fiscal year 2028 and would end in 2057. So this doesn't have a specific sunset of 30 years. We believe in accountability as a public agency, a not-for-profit public agency, so bond funds are not able to be used for things like salaries, maintenance, or anything besides the project themselves, and they are covered under an annual independent audit, which is required by California law. So that's not even just, we're going above and beyond, that's required. What is above and beyond is we will continue to provide regular updates at council meetings, at our Water Sustainability Summit, through our improved, and I think you guys have seen it, more robust community outreach schedule, and continue to ensure that you know the progress that's being made on those projects. And then we also have our bond report online with a lot of other information. So we're encouraging people to attend community meetings. We'll be hosting those in September and October. We'll be hosting them all up and down the 126 corridor. And then there's also the bond report, a handout, which I have copies of in both English and Spanish. And then you're more than welcome to visit unitedwater.org/bond, where you can find even more FAQs and additional questions. Or if you have a direct question, please feel free to email me at info@unitedwater.org. That goes right to me. And with that, try to keep it quick. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation.
Absolutely.
So this is a lot of, a little bit complex in the weeds information about this big investment infrastructure in Santa Felicia Dam. Can you tell us just really briefly sort of how you plan to sort of use layperson's terms to get the word out? This will help.
Absolutely. So just to be clear on your question, you're asking about how I'm getting the word out, or you're asking about the dam, the different projects?
The bond, getting the word out about the bond for it to pass.
Okay. So we're currently at almost every community event that we can find. The only one we weren't able to go to here was actually your beautiful, amazing 4th of July celebration. Unfortunately, you guys were super booked, and we weren't early enough. We thought 2 months out we would be early enough, but you guys were amazing. So we were not able to go to that, but we are going to the trunk or treat. We are also hosting a community meeting here and I'm going to be working with your team. We're going to be hosting a community meeting within town, and then we're also going to be hosting one at Piru. We're also hosting one at Santa Paula, and then Oxnard, et cetera. We went to every Oxnard National Night Out because that was a massive community event for that team. So we went to all 12 locations at the same night, which was kind of an amazing pull-off. And we've also done advertising just to make sure that people are aware of it. So digital advertising. And then in addition, we've done some print ads. We've worked with the VC Reporter. We've talked to the VC Star. The VC Star ran a story on this bond measure. We will continue to reach out through the radio is another one that we've definitely connected with. And then, but we find that just talking and listening and understanding people is the best way to get people to understand what this is. Because again, I can't advocate for it, but the information is really critical that people understand what it is.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Councilmember Garnica?
Yeah, so my question has to do more with, so I'm a little bit aware of this. I've been involved in some of the meetings. So just to be clear, the main reason why the dam needs an upgrade is because of the seismic vulnerability?
Correct.
Not because of the size of the spillway, is that correct?
Correct. The dam is built into two projects. The Outlet Works part of the project, which is about $214,000 or $214 million. I wish it was thousands. $214 million, and then the spillway, which is another $109 million.
Okay.
And so those two together are what creates that total number.
So that's both, actually?
It's both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, any other questions?
I certainly personally feel and believe that this bond needs to pass. But on the off chance that it doesn't pass, what's Plan B?
Okay, so I knew that question was coming. I don't like putting it in the presentation because I don't want to be like, and if it doesn't pass, this. But if it doesn't pass, our board will be faced with some very, very difficult decisions. One is to put this directly onto rates, and in the time frame, it would be pay as you go, which means that rates would really peak very, very quickly because we are ready to build. Or the other option is to not move forward with the projects and potentially shutter the lake. FERC could even demand decommissioning the dam potentially. That's not likely, but those are the kinds of things that we'd be looking at. Our Freeman diversion would have to probably be shuttered as well, which means we wouldn't be diverting any water, which means all of that water would run to the ocean.
Yeah. See, and that's helpful for us to know as we're talking to constituents.
Right.
People are going to ask us. And so
Absolutely.
I don't want to sound threatening to them, but facts are facts, and we want to provide the community with as much information as possible. So that was the reason. Great answer, though. Thank you.
Yes,
Good question, Councilmember Brody. Thank you.
absolutely.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well,
Okay,
thank you so much. It's such a great presentation, and we look forward for the handouts. Thank you.
absolutely. I'll leave these with your clerk.
Okay, now moving on to item number 6, public comments. Before we begin, public comment, I want to explain how this section of the meeting works. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the council under the Brown Act. The council is generally prohibited from discussing or acting on items that are not on tonight's agenda. This means that while we welcome and value your comments, council members will not be able to respond, ask follow-up questions, or engage in back and forth dialogue during this time. While we listen carefully and your comments become part of the public record, if your comment relates to an item not on tonight's agenda, state law allows a brief response to clarify factual matters or refer the item to a future consideration. But no substantive discussion or decision can happen tonight. With that, let's begin the public comment, and our first public speaker will be Cynthia Pazuros. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you. Good afternoon, evening. I have a little bit that I put on my phone to share with you. So my name's Cynthia Pazuros. I'm an educator. I'm a single mom and a homeowner on Heritage Valley Parkway. I'm here on behalf of a group of neighbors who live on Heritage Valley Parkway that need the City Council to take action regarding the homeless encampment on the dry riverbed in front of our homes. When we first moved in 4 years ago, we're a brand new development, there was a tiny encampment under the bridge of a few individuals. In the past 4 years, the encampment has slowly and steadily grown in size and expanded to the west until it's almost up to the traffic circle on Central Avenue. We have seen a dramatic increase in not only the number of homeless individuals in the encampment and the area affected, but also the criminal activities and fire set, both accidental and deliberate. Homeowners on our street are dealing with constant broken bottles, drug paraphernalia, and trash on the bike path and in the neighborhood. Drug deals occur on a regular basis, as well as other criminal activities like stolen vehicles and farm equipment theft. The encampment has become the drug den of our city. We witness young people being dropped off to engage in drugs down on the river. Our neighbors have small children and families. This is concerning, to say the least. However, the primary issue that concerns us are the frequent fires that are set in the dry brush surrounding the encampment on the riverbed. They are set both intentionally and by accident with potentially devastating results. These fires threaten our lives and our homes. The two latest fires this summer came within 100 yards of our homes. We are very fortunate that we have an extremely quick and responsive fire department in Fillmore to rely on. Thank you. Thank you to them and the law enforcement officers that constantly support us and come to our neighborhood. However, this is an ongoing serious issue. Fire season is just starting and it's getting hotter and drier, which makes this problem even worse. Unfortunately, it's not just a problem for Heritage Valley Parkway. Fillmore is also at risk. Our examples of Malibu and Altadena should be a lesson that it has potentially far-reaching consequences. We are a group of first-time home buyers for the most part, single parents, educators, civil servants, law enforcement, many with small children and elderly. Moving is not an option for us. We need the City Council to take more action on this. We know there is a large grant to address the issue. We have not noticed any change in this issue whatsoever. In fact, it's been steadily getting worse. We're not ogres, and we know this is a complicated problem. We understand the individuals need services and homes, but we are also taxpayers and live in Fillmore too, and we need something more to be done to protect us. We would respectfully request that the City Council, number one, cut down the arundo and dry brush that's so flammable and a fire danger near our homes. Number two, make fireworks in the natural riverbed and nearby area illegal. Number three, clean up the encampment area. It's unsanitary and a health hazard. Okay. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Next up, we have Donnie Sue Shepherd. Welcome, Donnie. You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
I'm one of those, my name is Donnie Sue Shepherd, as you know. I'm one of those concerned neighbors that live in the neighborhood. I'm a retired sign language interpreter at Cal State Northridge for the National Center of Deafness. And I've retired here, and I really like Fillmore, and I'm concerned about my grandson, and I'm concerned about the children in our neighborhood. And my window witnessed these transactions, and I'm concerned about the people in the encampment. It's endangerment to them and also to our families. So she so eloquently already gave you some details what we're facing. So I would like to continue to live here, and I'd like for everybody to be safe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. And next up, we have Derek Farage. Welcome, Derek.
Good evening, council and mayor and staff. For the record, my name is Derek Farage, resident here in Fillmore. I'm here to raise concerns about the repeated and prolonged power outages affecting Fillmore and the surrounding Santa Clara River Valley. During the most recent outage from August 2nd through August 3rd, residents were without electricity for an extended period of time of about 30 hours. After approximately 14 hours without power, I contacted Edison to ask whether temporary generators would be brought into the affected area for repairs while repairs continued. I was told by several customer service representatives, including a supervisor, that Edison does not provide temporary generators, instead was repeatedly referred to County 211. However, temporary generators were ultimately installed early the following morning. That contradiction raises serious questions about Edison's emergency response, its communication with customers, and its coordination with local government. I had 6 different outage numbers throughout this 40 hours. Residents experience loss of refrigerated and frozen food, but the risk of prolonged outage also go far beyond spoiled groceries. Extended outages can affect elderly residents, people who rely on powered medical equipment, families with young children, local businesses, communications, and overall safety for the community. I respectfully ask the council to take some actions. First, request a formal review from Edison regarding the recent and recurring outages affecting Fillmore, including their causes, restoration times, infrastructure concerns, and planned improvements. Second, ask Edison to publicly explain its policy regarding these temporary generators and why customers were told they were unavailable when generators were ultimately deployed. Third, direct the appropriate city staff to work with Edison and other county agencies to develop a clear protocol for prolonged outages, including better communication, assistance for vulnerable residents, and timely deployment of temporary power when restoration is significantly delayed. Residents should not have to wait 14 to 20 hours to learn whether what is their contingency plan. We need transparency about what is causing these outages, what is being done to improve reliability, and how local agencies and Edison can respond when outages become prolonged. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Okay, now moving on to, we have some online public comments.
Kiana Landon. You have been requested to unmute. Kiana Landon. She's unmuted. Can you test your mic? We cannot hear you. She stated her mic is not working. You can try and log out and try logging back in and see if it's your mic once you log back in. Mayor, we had 2 other people sign up online as well, but they're not logged in.
Okay, so can we come back to this item, or?
It's your decision, Mayor. I mean, if she's having technical issues, we have, as part of the policy, they're
Right.
supposed to check whether their system is working. So in light of the other 2 individuals not logging in, we were going to come back to her, but it's your decision if you want to move forward.
All right, I think we should move forward, and then can we revisit this at the end of the meeting if they're still logged in, or no?
She just sent a message and said that I don't have anything to speak on. I'm just here to listen on the matters.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, then hearing that, then I think we should move on to item number 7, City Council reports, recommendations, comments, committees, and commission and board reports. Councilmember Brogy?
Yeah, we've been dark the last 2 meetings the last 2 months, and then I was on vacation. I missed a meeting. But the committees that I sit on and the other things that I participate in as a council member have pretty much were dark most of the last few weeks. That's going to change by Friday. I've got several meetings lined up this week. So aside from that, I have nothing else to report on other than I will go back to having my twice-a-month porch talk at my house. It's open to all constituents, not just District 4, but anyone who wants to come and chat with other constituents and ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer, but everyone is welcome. So if you're interested in coming, it starts at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the second and fourth Wednesday of every month. So hope to see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Villaseñor?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I do have a few comments and a recommendation. My first comment is regarding our city's investment in Apex, which is our IT. Several years ago, we as council took action to really pivot our investment in IT and the security of our systems. And as you may know, in the news the last couple of weeks, there has been news of international hackers hacking the water systems in a number of towns in Minnesota and also a town in Northern California. I think the Northern California, we're not sure where it was from, but it was hacked, including their 911 in Northern California. So I just wanted to say, make a comment that this was an investment that we needed to pivot to, and we knew that our security, especially being our own water purveyor, where we have our water, we manage our water, this is really of utmost importance that we have that strong IT security, not just for water, but also obviously for our emergency response systems. So just an example to the community that, this is, we invest and we spend dollars, where we need to spend them. And I'm really glad that we did that several years ago, because I feel that we are in a good spot with that, concerning, these hackings that have happened. My other thing that I wanted to note is, and Mayor, feel free to jump in as you were there. So last week, I don't have the date in mind, but yes, last week we here at the City Council chambers, the Ventura County Healthcare Agency hosted a community forum regarding the future closure of Santa Paula Hospital as of the end of 2029. It will be closed by December 31st, 2029. And what are going to be the future options for healthcare services in the Santa Clara Valley? I don't want to go into a lot of detail on this, but I'm going to refer over and just look at our city manager for recordings of this. Do we know if this is something that's available to the public?
I looked for it last week and I didn't see it. I'm not sure if it's already been posted, but I can follow up.
Okay.
And then once it's posted, we can post it on social media as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I did want to make a note, though, just very briefly to give a quick summary. There are 3 options per the hospital, Ventura County Healthcare Agency, what they're seeing for the future. Option number 1 is called a micro hospital. This is something that is literally micro. The current hospital up on the hill has a 48 or 49 bed capacity. A micro hospital would have 4 or 5 beds. It would only keep, this very small number of people. It would be still an accredited hospital. It would have to be staffed fully 24/7. And it also, per the consultant who gave this presentation, the most costly, with a projected operating margin over 5 years of $73 million and a capital investment of $100 to $121 million. Option number 2, and I'll just have to note that this is an option that is favored by Ventura County Healthcare Agency, and this option is called Medical Office Buildings Plus Expanded Access to Care Clinic. This,
That is going to be the option that they're going to recommend.
This is the recommendation that will come, and I'll get to the end of that. There's going to be action next week that I'll let everyone know. This is the recommendation coming from the county. This option is an extended hour, higher acuity urgent care center paired with outpatient specialty clinics and on-site imaging, laboratory, and pharmacy services. The county is recommending a daily opening hours of 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. This one, cost-wise, is projected operating margin over 5 years, $5.4 million. Capital investment in this would be somewhere between $35 to $40 million. I'll have you know that the community, including our mayor, spoke up, again, as himself, as just the mayor. This is nothing at all. Just want to make sure that this is nothing on behalf of the city of Fillmore. This is only us as individuals. And the audience, community members agreed that we should not have anything less than 24 hours in terms of accessible services. This would be something that if you have an infection, they'll have MRI machines. It would not be basic urgent care. It would be higher level, like I said, imaging, laboratory, pharmacy services. The third option is urgent care. This is just basic urgent care. Again, the projected operating margin over 5 years, $4.7 million. And for reasons that I wasn't too clear of, they said the capital investment in this urgent care would actually be more than option 2. Or no, I'm sorry, I had that wrong. It would be less. It would be $9 to $16 million in capital investment. And I'll just note that the community advocates and folks who showed up to this meeting were not in favor at all of option number 3. So just, again, sharing what the community put out to the consultant and to the county and all the representatives that were there. Highly favored option 1, to maintain a hospital, and understanding that the size downing of it is something that's probably better suited for our county, but also understanding that it's going to be quite a lot of money. The second option that folks said would be a second option, second in line, would be option 2, but very much folks said that they wanted 24-hour care at that. So I just wanted to share that. And then the last part, thank you, Mayor, is that these 3 options are coming before our County Board of Supervisors this coming Tuesday, August 18th. The board will be meeting all day. I believe there's not yet, there's usually a certain time. Oh, Derek. 10:30. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Our audience member, Mr. Faraj, said that at 10:30 a.m. the board will for certain hear this item. So, community. This is our lives, our livelihood, our safety, our health on the line. I really encourage all those who can, to make your voices heard at the Board of Supervisors meeting this coming Tuesday, August 18th. That is at the County Government Center, 10:30 a.m. There's also an option to be online via public comment. And you can go to the County Board Supervisors, go to their meeting agenda page, and it gives you all of the instructions for how to join the meeting and make comments online. And so, if you're not able to be there in person. So thank you for that. Sorry, last one I wanted to mention, and this is something that I wasn't able to do last month. In July, it's known to be Disability Pride Month. So for those people who are living with disabilities and their caretakers and their supporters and advocates, it's a very important month. And one of our local disability advocates and very engaged community member, Marissa Rodriguez, the city of Ventura had a particular proclamation, and in July for Disability Pride Month. And so our local Fillmore resident, Marissa, was recognized by the city of Ventura. And so I just wanted to recognize that and just to read out loud what her recognition. And it is that Marissa Rodriguez for Disability Pride Month, in observance and appreciation for her exceptional commitment to celebrating disability, identity, culture, and leadership in Ventura, in the county of Ventura as well. So just, you know, I would like to recognize Marissa, that she is a great advocate. She is just really engaged in life, and she is a student at Ventura College, and she provides really great feedback about the transportation. I know she sits on the citizen, it's an advisory committee regarding transportation here in the Santa Clara Valley, and she's just been fantastic. So Marissa, congratulations on your recognition from the city of Ventura, and I just want to say that we are so supportive of you, and please continue to do what you do for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And moving on to Councilmember Garnica.
All right. Good evening. So as other council members have noted, it's been a while since we met, so there's actually been quite a bit of activity. So I've met with several constituents about recent concerns, one of them being Foothill Drive. I guess there's an issue with the inability for two-way traffic when cars are parked on both sides of the street. It's very difficult to maneuver through that, so that came up, and they're looking for a solution. Their solution, which I don't know if I agree with, was, hey, make it a one-way street. I told them, hold off, we got to have engineers look at this. We've got to, let's do the proper process. But I hear them that this is a concern. We had the whole issue with Sonic and the red curb issue that came up, and I'm sure those of you that are active on social media saw that. And thank you to the city staff for moving very quickly to make sure that nobody was fined for that new red curb being put in place. So that was jumped on. Actually, Christina, you helped out with that quite a bit, so thank you for that. I also attended the Joint Powers Insurance Authority for the city. We had every year we have a meeting where all of the participating cities that are part of this Joint Powers Authority get together to vote on the new staff. Not staff. The new board. And basically what this authority does is it collects the liability for all of the participating cities for liability insurance and workers' compensation insurance. And what it does, it means that we get lower rates than if we had gone out to find insurance for those things in the public market, since we have our own insurance authority. The bottom line is I guess what I took out of it was, number one, the rates are going up for both liability but not for the workers' compensation. So the rates, it's been driven by a couple of different things, but the rates are definitely going to be going up in the next couple of years. Some of that has been absorbed by the Joint Powers Authority because they have essentially a kitty to help absorb the ups and downs. But we did place the new board, and everyone voted on that. I will say I attended the Music in the Park that was put on by the city. Staff, you guys did a great job. The attendance was fantastic to the music, and it was held here in front of City Hall, and we must have had between 500 and 1,000 people here, so it was very, very well attended. And again, several people were saying, hey, I saw it on social media, so great job on that, staff. I attended the Health and Wellness Spa grand opening here on Central Avenue, along with the mayor, and actually, Christina, you were there as well. I also attended the Building Industry Association sponsored meeting in Ontario. That was basically all of the cities in the Inland Empire and up in the high desert, together with the Building Industry Association of California, of Southern California, to try to educate the members of the elected members there about what the needs are for the Building Industry Association to help us solve the housing problem that we have in California with high housing costs. Of course, you have to put on a skeptical ear because it is the Building Industry Association. These are all the developers. So their solution, of course, was, hey, make sure that you guys just basically rubber stamp our plans going through, that was their perspective. But we also had speeches by several members of representatives, both at the Washington level, up in DC, as well as in Sacramento, that were talking about legislation that was going through in both places to help alleviate some of the issues from their levels about helping us get more housing. So that was a very interesting meeting, but as I said, I definitely had my ears perked up to make sure I was listening for bias, which of course there was. I also attended today a meeting of Los Vets of Fillmore and Piru. So this is a veterans organization for all veterans here in Fillmore and Piru area. And during the meeting, Ernie Villegas, who's one of the officers of the organization, got up and basically asked for donations from the veterans to help with the production of Annie that's going to be happening in November, because apparently the cost of just the rights for the play are about $4,000. And so afterwards, I approached Ernie, and the vets had voluntarily raised about $2,000, so almost half of the cost of the play was raised by the vets, and I'm proud to say I'm part of that organization. And then lastly, Two Rivers Park. So I had the opportunity myself. So I'd heard from constituents, hey, we need to finish what's going the park at Two Rivers Park. It just looks very incomplete. So my grandson is in the Heritage Valley Blazers. They have a cross country team, and he participates in that. Had the opportunity to go out to Two Rivers Park and see for myself. I would agree with the assessment that Two Rivers Park is not complete. There are several areas that look very incomplete. In fact, I would argue that the dog park is actually probably an eyesore. It's just barren dirt. So I did bring that up to staff. They've got, I think, things in the works, but I did want to make sure that the other council members as well as the community was aware that, one of the advantages of having people that are actually participating in the community is we see with our own eyes what's going on. And so that's pretty much it. That's my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Garnica. Councilmember Rodriguez?
Just very similar to what Councilmember Brogis mentioned. Pretty dry for me as well. This past couple months has been dark. Looking forward for the next couple of months because everybody's going to start meeting. So I'll be coming more with information with the groups that I sit in with.
Thank you. And as for myself, pretty much I've been dark the whole month as well. But I did today attend the Air Pollution Control Board. That agenda was pretty light. There were just on the agenda were several items regarding grants that are going out to some organizations in Ojai regarding promoting farming and things like that. And that was pretty much it. I did attend the meeting about the Santa Paula Hospital with Councilmember Villaseñor, and I just wanted to give also a shout out to our Public Works team working very hard, fixing the roads. There's patching up the roads as best they can, and they really good response time. I want to thank you, Joe Balomo. Thank you and your team. Okay. So with that, I will move on to item number 8, our consent calendar. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
We got a motion, a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to number 9, new business. Ventura County Civil Grand Jury Report, countywide response to public complaints about fireworks. And I do have one speaker on that item.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it's Derek Farage.
Before the presentation?
Do you want to let her give her presentation and you want to speak after? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. On June 23rd, the city received the Ventura County Civil Grand Jury Report entitled Countywide Response to Public Comments About Fireworks, which was publicly released on June 25th of 2026. The report evaluates how law enforcement agencies, fire departments, and local jurisdictions throughout the Ventura County respond to public complaints regarding fireworks and includes findings and recommendations intended to improve countywide coordination. Pursuant to the California Penal Code Section 933.05, the City Council is required to formally respond to the findings and recommendations identified for the City of Fillmore within 90 days of the report's publication. I do want to mention for the record that I inadvertently forgot to attach the Exhibit B, which was the additional responses of what we're going to propose, but I'm going to go through those tonight during the presentation. And so, just to make it easier, you have had time to review the report. It includes all the different jurisdictions, the 10 jurisdictions in Ventura County and unincorporated areas as well. And so what I'm proposing the council would be, the first page would be the responses, and we're saying that we do agree with the findings and that we don't disagree wholly or partially with the findings. So I just put not applicable. But for the exhibit or attachment B that I provided, I'm going to go by each recommendation, read the recommendation from the grand jury, and then read what I'm recommending that the city provide as a response. And then after that, we can have a discussion and you can let me know whether you agree or you disagree. So for the first recommendation, the Ventura County Civil Grand Jury recommends that the Ventura County Board of Supervisors pass a host liability ordinance regarding fireworks applicable to the unincorporated areas of Ventura County. We're proposing that our response be the City of Fillmore agrees with the intent of this recommendation. However, this recommendation is directed exclusively to the Ventura County Board of Supervisors and pertains to the unincorporated areas of Ventura County. The City Council has no legislative authority over county ordinances or policies governing unincorporated areas. Accordingly, no action by the City of Fillmore is required. Recommendation number 2, the Ventura County Civil Grand Jury recommends that the cities of Ojai, Moore Park, Camarillo, Simi Valley, and Thousand Oaks adopt their own fireworks host liability ordinance. This recommendation is not directed to the City of Fillmore. The city has previously adopted a strict liability ordinance addressing the illegal discharge of fireworks, which the Civil Grand Jury specifically recognizes as distinguished Fillmore from the other sheriff contract cities identified in the report. As this recommendation applies only to the other jurisdictions, no additional action by the City of Fillmore is necessary. Recommendation number 3. The Ventura County Civil Grand Jury recommends that the Ventura County Fire Department maintain ongoing communication with CAL FIRE's Public Safety Fireworks Enforcement Task Force to learn recommendations that enhance enforcement and compliance with fireworks laws. Our response, the City of Fillmore agrees with this recommendation and supports continuing coordination between regional public safety agencies and CAL FIRE to identify and implement best practices related to firework enforcement, education, and compliance. However, it is important to note that the City of Fillmore operates its own municipal fire department and does not contract with the Ventura County Fire Protection District for fire services. Accordingly, while the recommendation is directed to the Ventura County Fire Department, the city recommends that municipal fire department, including the Fillmore Fire Department, be included in this communications and information sharing efforts, including all affected fire agencies, would promote a more comprehensive countywide approach and ensure that all jurisdictions benefit from emerging best practices and recommendations. I think that there was just the assumption that every city contracts out with the county, which is not the case. There's 3 cities in the county that have their own fire department, so I wanted to make it clear to the findings that they also include us as part of those conversations. Recommendation number 4, the Ventura County Civil Grand Jury recommends that the Ventura County Fire Department interface regularly with the Ventura County Law Enforcement Coordinating Committee to inform the committee about recommendations from CAL FIRE's Fireworks Enforcement Task Force. The City of Fillmore supports enhanced coordination among public safety agencies regarding firework enforcement and agrees with the overall objective of this recommendation. Because Fillmore provides fire services through its own municipal fire department rather than through the Ventura County Fire Protection District, the city recommends that the Fillmore Fire Department be included as a participant in these regional coordinating meetings, including all municipal fire departments, would strengthen information sharing, improve operational coordination, and help ensure that the recommendation developed through CAL FIRE's Fireworks Enforcement Task Force are communicated consistently to all jurisdictions responsible for fireworks enforcement and emergency response through Ventura County. Recommendation number 5, the Ventura County Civil Grand Jury recommends that the Ventura County Fire Department and the Ventura County Law Enforcement coordinating committees meet regularly to develop strategies and establish best practices for responding to fireworks complaints and enforcing fireworks regulations. For this one, it's the same recommendation. We agree with the intent, but we would like to also have our fire department included in those conversations. And then, just as a closing statement, the city respectfully recommends that the participation in these meetings be expanded beyond the Ventura County Fire Protection District to include municipal fire departments, including the Fillmore Fire Department. While the city contracts out with the Ventura County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement services, it independently provides fire protection and emergency response through its own fire department, including Fillmore fire personnel. And these strategies discussions would ensure that all agencies with operational responsibilities for fireworks response have the opportunity to contribute their experience, share local operational perspectives, and participate in the development of county-wide best practices. And we're just providing that comment back to the grand jury. So I believe that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? I have no questions, but I totally agree with these, and I think the responses are totally in line with what our best practices are.
Okay, and just for the record, the council would grant me authority to submit the answers on your behalf and sign the report.
Yep.
Okay? Thank you. And I think you have a public comment too.
Yes, I have one public comment. Let Derek speak. And then
Oh, sure.
Derek, your public comment, you have 3 minutes.
All right. Good evening again. I want to speak tonight about the illegal fireworks here in Fillmore. First, I want to make sure that any of these recommendations and everything and coordination does not affect any of the legal, safe, and sane fireworks. They are part of how the families in our community celebrate the 4th of July and other events. In some cases, these fireworks sales for these organizations also account for 60% of the organization's annual fundraisers, so I don't want to have them affected. But the big difference here is the safe and sane fireworks are these illegal mortar, aerial fireworks, and projectiles that are routinely launched throughout the community throughout the year. It's not just the 4th of July. We hear them after sport teams wins, after graduations, after birthday parties, at other celebrations throughout the year, all throughout the night through 2 a.m. Around the 4th of July, it becomes much worse, with explosions going off for days and even weeks before and after the holiday. At some point, this goes beyond just annoyance. It becomes public safety and quality of life issues. These fireworks can be especially difficult for veterans and others suffering from PTSD. They terrify pets and animals. They disturb neighborhoods late into the night. And most importantly, they create a very real fire danger in a community surrounded by dry vegetation, agricultural land, and hillsides. This year, we saw the potential consequences firsthand with the fire at Fillmore High School, where more than $100,000 worth of damage was caused, with fireworks potentially being connected to the incident. It should concern us all. I understand enforcement is difficult Deputies cannot be on every street. Catching someone in the act is not an easy way to do it. But I think the city needs to coordinate and ask what more can be done. What could mean additional enforcement, easier reporting options for residents, stronger public education, increased penalties where appropriate, and looking at what other cities are doing successfully, like Oxnard and their flying of drones through the 4th of July weekends. This problem comes up every year, and every year we seem to have the same conversations. I would ask the council to start working on a stronger strategy before the next 4th of July. We can still support our local organizations, allow families to enjoy the legal, safe and sane fireworks, and still clearly get the illegal fireworks out of our city. Thanks.
Thank you, Derek. Councilmember Brogy?
Yeah, two things. First, I have a question with regard to VCLEC, the Ventura County Law Enforcement Coordinating Committee. Does our fire department participate in any of those meetings on any issues, or just out of the loop completely, not addressing the fire chief?
So the answer is yes. We have monthly county chief officers meetings, and then we also have probably not bi-monthly but quarterly fire prevention, fire marshal get-togethers. So yes, we do participate in the discussions.
Great, above and beyond just the fireworks subject as
That's
well.
correct.
Right. Oh, great, thank you.
But fireworks are oftentimes included in those discussions.
Yeah, all right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
And then I just wanted to reemphasize what our speaker, our Derek, just addressed, and that's my concern about going down this road and battling the illegal fireworks. And I can't drive home this point enough that safe and sane fireworks that we sell here in Fillmore, that all the nonprofit agencies sell, brings in a huge amount of money for each of those agencies. And I think, Derek, you said 60% of what they have. And as a Rotarian, and I worked in booths, for years, it's so significant. And my concern is that we make sure that we are conscious about splitting those two subjects. We've got the safe and sane that hugely benefit, especially the youth in our community. And then we've got all the illegals, which wreak havoc. And we need to be clear when we're talking to people that everyone understands that there's a huge difference. I mean, I'd have people come up to me as I was working in a fireworks booth and ask if I could sell them some cherry bombs or whatever these illegal fireworks are. And it's like people just don't understand the difference. So I'm just asking and encouraging anybody who's engaged in a conversation on this topic with your friends, neighbors, family, that you drive home that point. Because I don't want to lose the funding that the nonprofits receive from the fireworks sales, the safe and sane fireworks sale we have here in Fillmore. End of story.
Thank you. Good point. Thank you. Anybody else? Councilmember Garnica?
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that we did receive a letter from Susan Jolly that actually conflated those two things exactly. She was saying, hey, there's all these, all this danger going on with all these fireworks going off, and all, just like Derek was saying, at all hours of the night leading up to the 4th. But she said, so she would like to encourage the city council to be brave and outlaw all fireworks. And in my mind, there are two very distinct things, as Councilmember Brogy said, and from what I've seen, at least I've not seen any evidence to indicate that the problem is with the safe and sane fireworks. The only things that I've seen is the ones that are aerial are the ones where we have had issues. So in my mind, I absolutely agree that the illegal fireworks, we need to continue to educate and we need to emphasize enforcement on those. But it's very, very different in my mind than the safe and sane ones that benefit our community.
Thank you.
Can I just add something else to that? Where I have had discussions that concern me the most are with people outside of the city of Fillmore, people from the city of Oxnard, people from Ventura, who are saying Fillmore needs to stop selling fireworks. And I don't want that pressure coming from outside our city. No one else should make that decision for us. And we need to make clear to those people specifically that the safe and sane are not the issue. So.
Thank you. Okay. So moving on to item number 9. Oh, wait, do we have to take action on this? Or is this just receive and file?
Yeah, let me pull it up real.
I think we
Quick sec.
might need to make a motion.
Yeah. So receive and file the 2025-2026 Ventura County Civil Grand Jury Report. Agree with the civil grand jury findings applicable to the city of Fillmore, and determine that no additional action is required by the city as the recommendations directed to the city have already been addressed through the existing city practices, or the recommendations are directed to the other agencies. Those
Okay.
are,
Do you want to make a motion?
Sure. I will make a motion that the city council adopt numbers 1 through 3.
A second?
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item 9B, preservation of local government update to appointment of standby officers.
Good evening, Mayor and Council Member. I'm bringing this item in front of you today because the city, to have the city council members review their current standby officers appointed and make any updates that deem necessary. Under the California Emergency Service Act, local agencies may appoint up to 3 standby officers for each elected office of the city manager. These individuals would be available to perform official duties in case of an emergency. Appointments may be updated when the city council members takes office. A standby officer is no longer willing to or able to serve. A vacant occurs, the city conducts an emergency plan review. Let me know if you would like me to name the people who are currently a standby officer. And then, would you guys like me to read those, or did you guys review those?
Do you want to read them?
Okay. So for Council Member Albert Mendez, we have Kevin McSweeney. And then we have a second standby officer who is Manuel Minjares. And then for Councilmember John Garnica, we have Natalie Garnica and then Beverly Garnica. And then for Councilmember Carrie Brogy, we have Brian McKenty and then Scott Brogy. And then we also have a third for that one who is Ernie Viejas. And then for Councilmember Villaseñor, we have Karina Forsyth, and then we have Nancy Rodriguez, and then we have Chano Ibarra, and then for Mario, we have Daniel Gonzalez, and that's it.
Thank you. Okay, so discussion?
I just was going to say, Mayor, I do want to make a change on one person
Okay,
for
go
mine.
ahead.
And that is, I'm going to swap Chano Ibarra for Jacqueline Ibarra.
Okay.
Change it from husband to wife. She's leader of the Lions Club, and she's more local.
And I'm going to make a change on mine as well. Kevin McSweeney, obviously, so I'm going to put in Manuel Minjares as my first choice. And then I'm going to also put in my daughter Connie Quintana as my second. And I'm going to do Angel as my third.
I'd like to make a change too. For my first would be Brandy Lingning, which I can send you the spelling later.
Okay, yes.
And then my second would be Daniel Gonzalez.
Okay,
And no changes to mine.
okay.
I hope I don't have to make changes, but I just want to verify that Brian McCarthy is still willing to. We're good? Okay. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thank you. You don't get paid for that, you know. It's not a paid job.
And then I'll just ask if you guys can send me those names emailed, just so that I have them correctly in all of our systems. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
and I have them. I'll email them to you.
Perfect, thank you so much. So then I don't think we have to vote or do anything on that or any motions. So moving on to item number 9C, consideration of ordinance number 26-999 to add a new chapter 16.07 to the Fillmore Municipal Code chapter to establish cross-connection and backflow standards and regulations for water lines.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Good evening, City Council. This evening, this item is a recommendation for the City Council to introduce the first reading of ordinance number 26-999, which will establish a new chapter 1607 within the Fillmore Municipal Code to create a comprehensive cross-connection control program and backflow prevention standards for the city's potable water system. The ordinance is intended to ensure compliance with the California's Safe Drinking Water Act and the Water Resources Control Board Cross-Connection Control Policy Handbook, which became effective July 1st, 2024. The proposed ordinance provides that the city with a legal authority necessary to establish and enforce the cross-connection control program, including conducting hazard assessments, requiring the installation and annual testing of approved backflow assemblies, performing inspections, educating the public, maintaining required records, and taking enforcement action, including discontinuing water service when necessary to protect the public health. These measures are designated to prevent contamination to the city's drinking water system through actual or potential cross connections. Adoption of the ordinance is necessary because the state's updated regulation require all public water systems to have enforceable local rules and authorized corrective actions designating a qualified program administration, conducting hazard assessments, and implementing public education programs. Without adopting the ordinance, the city would face increased public health risk, reduce public or program effectiveness, and potential enforcement action and administrative penalties by the California Safe Drinking Water Act. The ordinance establishes clear responsibility for the city, the property owners, certified testers, and developers. Outlines installation, inspection, testing, and maintenance requirements for backflow prevention assemblies. It provides enforcement procedures and penalties for noncompliance and establishes reporting, record keeping, incident response, and public education requirements consistent with state law. The staff report concludes that there is no fiscal impact associated with the adoption of this ordinance, and it supports the city's council's goal for environmental stewardship and infrastructure and innovation for protecting the city's drinking water system and ensuring compliance with evolving state water quality regulations. It did conclude that there is no fiscal impact, but I wanted to provide further explanation of that. There's a lot of requirements that the state has put on water systems. You know, I highlighted a few. The intent, this is an evolving program. If you recall, we had inherited this program from the county. The county used to manage this program for us, for the city and for other cities in the county. When the new policy came out from the state, they saw the potential liability that they'd be taking on, and then therefore they backed out of that responsibility and put it back on the city. So we've been in the process of developing this program since that occurred at the beginning of last year, I think it was. So as a result of their notification to us, we hired Exodus Water to create a backflow prevention program for us, a cross-connection control program and backflow assembly program for us. And the program administrator that's called out in the requirements is currently staffed by one of their specialists. The intent is for our program staff to go through, or our public works staff to go through, get the necessary certification to become that designated specialist. Currently, there's myself and the public works supervisor, Jay Kaufman, that are in the middle of that program. There's other priorities that have come up that's kind of delayed us from getting that specialist certification, but we're close to getting that. So once that happens, we'll be able to release the contractor from that obligation, and we'll take that responsibility in-house. Then the next step is the annual testing of the backflow, or the backflow prevention assemblies. We extended Exodus Water's contract not too long ago, a couple meetings ago, where they are going to test all the backflow assemblies in the city, which there's approximately 350. They're going to go through in September, test them, and give us the results, and that meets the compliance deadline that the state has established for the annual requirement. The intent is to have staff get the certifications in order to be the tester, not the certifier, or the specialist, but the tester. So the future is myself or the public works supervisor as the specialist, the required specialist that we have for the water system, and then the public works crew, a few on that public works crew being testers. And so every September, the public works staff that have that certification will go through and test all the backflow assemblies. So that's the future of the program. Other than that, there's light requirements on record keeping, light requirements on public education, all stuff that we feel like we can handle with in-house staff. So it seems like there's going to be, a big fiscal impact, but, as we progress, I think into year 2, we're going to see a program that's very tailored and managed by us. So that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No. Okay, so seeing no questions, can I entertain a motion?
So I'd like to move that the City Council introduce the first reading of Ordinance 26-999 to create a cross-connection control program called the CCCP. That used to be the name of the Russians, I think. And backflow prevention requirements for water lines as Fillmore Municipal Code, Chapter 16.07, for compliance with state law pertaining to the Safe Water Drinking Act. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Fillmore, California, adopting a new Chapter 16.07 to establish cross-connection and backflow standards and regulations.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now moving on to item 9D, approval of the notice of completion for construction of well number 10 drilling and well number 5 destruction project specification number 25-03.
Thank you. The staff is recommending the City Council formally accept the completion of the well 10 drilling and well 5 destruction project. This is known as project specification 2503A, also known as Phase A. Authorize the filing of the notice of completion, authorize the Public Works Director to release bonds, and approve the final payment of contract retention following the 30-day lien period, provided there's no stop payment notices received. Phase A of the project was approved by the City Council in August of 2025. With a construction award to Pacific Coast Well Drilling for $1.5 million with a 10% contingency. Construction began in January of 2026, and the contractor completed the drilling portion of it by March 19th, 2026, reaching a depth of 585 feet. This was followed by the contractor performing test pumping and water quality sampling at varying depths. The test pumping showed that well 10 is capable of producing 3,000 gallons per minute, which would be our highest producing well. The lab analysis of water quality samples resulted in all analytes meeting drinking water quality standards, except for manganese. Once Phase B is completed, which I'll explain in a bit, staff will pump the well over a period of time to reduce manganese to drinking water standards. Unfortunately, treatment is going to be inevitable with how the state is cracking down on water quality limits. Currently, there's a proposal to reduce the limit and increase reporting for manganese, specifically the one constituent that we have an elevation for. But it just appears that treatment is going to be inevitable. So we're kind of gearing up for that step. Yes, sir.
Joe, just to clarify, so under current state law, we would meet the standard for manganese, but under the new state law, we would have to treat. Is that accurate?
On well 7 and 8, we meet it,
Right.
and
The new standard.
Yeah, the current and the new standard.
Okay.
We don't see a problem with that. It's something we're keeping our eye on, though. It's something that can have a seasonal variation depending on the level of the groundwater and other factors. I'll go back to well 7 early last year when we had an emergency and we had to get in there and replace all the downhole infrastructure there. At that time, we used an airburst technology that kind of attempted to clean that filter pack in the well through airbursts, and that stirred up sediment. And if you recall, there was a couple of weeks there that we were dealing with elevated manganese. That elevation is very similar to what we're pulling out of 10 at the very first samples at varying depths. So the limit that the elevated manganese that we're pulling out of 10, I'm hoping that we can pump it out just like we did with 7. So with 7, we just pumped it over a period of several weeks. We collect the sample at the end of the week. We send it off to the lab. We're seeing it going down. And then after, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, I can't recall, off the top of my head, that the limit got below the drinking water standard.
The new one.
On 7. So I'm hoping the same thing is going to happen at 10. The backup plan is to already have started the design of a treatment facility. And the concept is we'd be pumping, we'd have a bypass a line from the newly constructed 10 down to well 9, which is down the street from 10, and then we do a treatment facility at 9 where we have the real estate to put in large filters and stuff like that. So that's the concept. And then to meet future demand, we would develop 9, the well number 9, which is a hole in the ground at this point, just like 10 is at this point. We'd equip that well, and both 9 and 10 would go through that same filtration. So we're already starting the design, anticipating that we might need it for 10, but at this point, my goal is to just pump down that elevated mercury, or that elevated manganese.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Joe.
So well 10 was completed, the work on well 10 was completed in early May of this year, and the completion of well 5 destruction was delayed, unfortunately, due to coordination with Edison on discontinuing electrical service at to the pump. Once the utility coordination was completed, the contractor finished all work by June 29th, and the project was successfully passed the final inspection on June 30th. So Phase A of the project was completed under budget with a final construction cost totaling $1.48 million, resulting in approximately $171,000 in unused contingency and project budget. Recording the notice of completion initiates the 30-day lien period required under California law. If no stop payment notices are received during that period, the city may release the contractor's retention payments, exonerate bonds, and formally close out the construction contract. Before I conclude this report, I'd like to give you a kind of a picture of what's ahead of us. So Phase B is going to equip the well, and it's going to build the structure around it. That's the containment building. I don't know if you guys remember 7 and 8. They're all, there is a containment structure. Neither 7 or 8 has the well head inside of it. If we're designing 7 or 8, for that matter, today, we would put the well head inside of a building, just for the acoustics and not disturbing the neighborhood. So that was the goal with 10, is that we equip or, have everything within a contained structure, and then also added security that provides once we put everything inside. So the structure will be built under Phase B. And then we're going to equip it. We have generators, or a generator that we are a part of this. It's going to be a part of this contract. The down pipe, the well, the motor, the pump, all that stuff is part of this next phase. So after Phase B is done, we're looking at doing landscaping, finishing off the project. With Phase C, which, is more likely going to happen through our landscape maintenance contract. We have good prices with Venco, so I believe that we'll probably, try to finish off the park that way with the re-landscaping. So we're very close to completing everything for Well 10. I don't know if you've noticed, but the gazebo is back. The large gazebo is reconstructed. Today, as a matter of fact, actually yesterday, our painter is in the process of pressure washing it, sanding it down. It's going to get a new fresh coat of paint, very similar in color to the new restrooms that we put at Dolores Day. And then the goal, I think that the new color, it's not going to match the other shade structures, but our goal is to get that included in next year's budget, and we'll finish the color off and make everything look all nice and consistent throughout the park. So, I explained also we have the design team already working on the treatment, the filtration process that's going to be involved. So they're working on that, and we should have everything all dialed in this time next year. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? No?
Not a question, just a comment. Going back to when we had a tour of the wells, everything, the information that you provide in your report's been fantastic, and I appreciate, the way you can communicate so that I can even understand what you're talking about. So thanks for that, Joe.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, ditto to Councilmember Brogie's comments. Absolutely. Thank you, Joe, for your clarity on these projects. And I think I saw a question come over on social media about rehabbing the former well space. Is there a timeline on that?
If I had my way, I'd have my Public Works crew out there, last week and start to tear down. Actually, there was one critical piece of equipment that you all approved under consent tonight. That was the mini excavator. That's going to play a key role in demolishing that well number 5, the above ground structure. Everything below ground was in that contract with Pacific Coast Well Drilling. Which was pretty cool. They use explosives to demolish the down structure, but you had to be there to really feel it and appreciate it. We took a video and it just does no justice. So, but yeah, we are going to be demolishing that structure, and we're going to return it to grass space probably around springtime. And I anticipate this next Phase B is going to be a 10-month contract due to the lead time on materials. But halfway through, we're going to be, in a position where we can finish off the landscaping on the baseball field side of the walkway. Mm-hmm. And then once the structure is completely done, then we could fill in the vegetation, grass, plants, bushes, trees, throughout, including re-landscaping well 5, turning that back into park space.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, so with that and no more questions or discussions, can I get a motion, please?
I'd like to move a motion for the council to accept the services provided for the construction of well number 10, drilling, and well number 5, destruction project specification number 25-03, performed by the Pacific Coast Well Drilling contractor, authorizing staff to file the attached notice of completion, authorize the Public Works Director to exonerate the performance and payment bonds, and authorize the final payment to the contractor of owed retention and release on contract pending clearance of 30-day lien period, providing no stop payment notice are received.
Motion second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now moving on to item number 10, City Manager Verbal Report.
Thank you, Mayor. Manny's going to provide an update regarding the efforts that we've been working constantly with the ERF encampment grant. So, Manny, passing it on to you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. An update from last month. So we've had some success. I think at the last update, I spoke to you about a couple of candidates that we were trying to get into the Spirit of Santa Paula shelter. We were successful in getting one of our residents placed in the shelter. However, we had a significant setback a day or two after they were placed. One of the residents that was placed left the shelter, went back to their encampment, and ended up passing away in their encampment. So that was really hard. Punch to the gut for the case management staff who, felt like they were getting somewhere. And those are the challenges that they face. On the positive end, I did get an application for a rapid rehousing placement for one of our encampment residents. So I'm wrapping up that review, and hopefully we'll be able to get the candidate placed in some temporary housing. And that's the model we're working with, and with the ultimate goal of seeing a project like Fillmore Terrace being completed. So all signs point to that project heading to construction at the end of this year. So we're gonna, in terms of encampment cleanup, I did give the City Council an update. Our intention was to do a more thorough cleanup, and however, one of the property owners of the two properties where the majority of our encampments are located had informed us that we were in the middle of nesting season for the least bell's vireo. They were supposed to have completed a nesting survey at the end of July, so I'm waiting to hear about the results of the survey. Once we hear word that the mating season is over, the breeding season is over, we can go in and do a more thorough cleaning of the encampment. In the meantime, what we've done is we've taken another roll-off container from E.J. Harrison and Sons, a 40-foot roll-off container, and the encampment residents there are, they requested this themselves, so they're trying to be part of the solution. They're at least the ones that have volunteered to help out, and they are gathering debris and trash and filling that container. So we currently do have efforts to try to address the debris situation, and hopefully within the next month or so, if we get word that the endangered species is no longer an issue, we can do a more thorough cleaning there. If there's any specific questions, I'm more than happy to help. Just to give you one more update, I have not heard word back from HCD on the result of the Round 5 grant application yet. Carrie, you have a question?
Yeah, any discussion at all on the Arundel? Where are we on that? I know that's a huge issue involving multiple agencies.
The Arundel is a process that runs separate from the grant application. There are no funds within the ERF encampment. As a matter of fact, you are not able to use these ERF dollars to clear the Arundel. For that question, I would defer to Chief Garola. I don't know if you had an update on any effort to address Arundel in that area.
So we do have an outstanding grant that we have in place with the, basically through CAL FIRE, and the Fire Safe Council is administering it. The Fire Safe Council is kind of under the same restrictions as what Manny was talking about, where we're under the restrictions of the nesting birds. And we hope to be able to do the second phase. The first phase, if you remember, was a year and a half ago, and we did the northern part of the city. The second phase is the Arundo that's above the floodplain. Again, it's a different issue whether you're down in the floodplain or above it. But the area, the dense patches of Arundo that are right next to the bridge approach in the area there of Gasway, Sunken City area, and then where the bike path coming from the east dead ends in that same vicinity, there's a real big solid patch of Arundo. That's all above flood water, and that's all scheduled to be mitigated. We were told probably the end of September, 1st of October, the end of nesting season. So that's still on the books, and it's still scheduled for this fall.
Chief, does that include Sunken Village, that area?
So it does. It does include that. Most of Sunken Village is above the floodplain.
Okay.
Yes. So pretty much everything surrounding.
I wanted to add something to that situation. The property that's adjacent to the KB Homes condominium project along Heritage Valley Parkway, that property is owned by Hearthstone, and it's a property that is set aside for mitigation for the bridges project. We are in discussions with how that property could be utilized with some maybe conservancies. So there is a potential for a conservation group to try to work on restoring that property, much like the property adjacent to the gosh, I'm forgetting the fish hatchery, exactly. So there's some work we're doing on that end to try to address that situation there.
Just to clarify, the area around Sunken Village, it's a combination of city and county properties. And so this grant has no boundaries. It covers both city and county areas.
Great. Thank you, Chief. Okay, any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I do have a question, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, Manuel, for the presentation. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but Arundo is a non-native species, right? The nesting seasons for this particular bird, wildlife, is it in the Arundo? Like, do we know if the Arundo is part of this, or is it just the riverbed as a whole?
You're asking, is the Arundo in the nesting area?
Well, I know that the Arundo is in the riverbed, the nesting area. But I guess I was just wondering that if ever there is the opportunity to take away Arundo, not just above the floodplain, but in the dense riverbed, do we know if that actually is going to would hit against fish and wildlife and preservation? I just wonder if you know the answer to that question.
I think removing the Arundo meets a lot of the environmental goals for the river. Of course, you've got to do it hand in hand with, like as Chief Garola was mentioning, around the nesting season, so as not to damage the bird's nest. And so, it was really important to keep in communication with these agencies and making sure that we're proceeding with all caution. Given that these two properties are not actually owned by the city of Fillmore, it really causes us to make sure that we're doing everything by the book, and we don't expand the liability of these partners that we're working with.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was just wondering if those were like two things that are just in conflict. If the removal of the Arundo in the actual riverbed is in conflict with fish and wildlife and the preservation of flora and fauna. Okay, great, thank you.
Specifically, The Arundo is not part of the habitat.
Specifically, Arundo is removed from other, like the native, is it riparian trees and those sort of things?
The issue is there's a certain amount of distance. You have to stay away from the nests, the current nests. And the Arundo obviously is mixed in with all that within that distance.
That's the whole thing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Manuel, thank you for that report. I know I've asked this question before, but perhaps you can give me an update on the population of the homeless encampment. If there, I mean, obviously there's sadly a negative change of the population, but I know that it also fluctuates for other causes. Can you address that, please?
And I think the population is, and the activity, I think there's a population of those that are, have encampments there, and there is the activity of the transients that come in and out of there, that area. So while the actual encampment numbers have not necessarily increased according to the information that we've reported to, and then our case managers are reporting to us, it does not mean that there may be more transient traffic through there from the folks that we've documented that frequent and go in and out of the area. And I, maybe Chief Lalo would, maybe I don't know if you want to speak to that to some degree and make sure I'm saying things that are accurate.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. No, Manny's accurate on what he says. Our numbers have not grown. I think it's maybe 14, but like some of the public comments that were speaking earlier, there are people that come and visit them from outside the area, and that's primarily the traffic that I think they're describing. As people come, they visit, they hang out, and then they take off and leave. They don't necessarily stay down there, or if they do stay down there, it's for, a few hours, maybe overnight, and then they leave. But yeah, Manny's right. The actual people that live down there, that have encampments down there, that have property down there, that has not changed.
That's correct.
I would say 14.
14.
A question. Thank you, Chief Lalo. Regarding that sort of maybe increased traffic that we're seeing on the eastern side of there, in reflection for the Sheriff's Department, has there been, acknowledging this, has there been any kind of increased patrol of the area, certain times a day, and has there been increased reporting of any sort of, violations or any kind of activity, officially?
Yes, so we do have extra patrols that go down there. In fact, today there was 2 different deputies that were doing foot patrol in the Heritage Valley area. We do respond to calls for service when we have a number of residents that live right in that corner, I think on Willow, that call regularly, which we encourage when they see something that doesn't look right. So we respond to calls for service. We do extra patrols down there. But as far as activity and crimes occurring, things of that nature, nothing that stands out as far as like vehicles being broken into. Sure, there may be trash that's left down there, or maybe like they mentioned, drug paraphernalia and the bike path or different areas, but nothing of significance as far as that specific area.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to announce that the City Council will hold a special meeting on Wednesday, 19th at 7:30 p.m. It will immediately follow the Planning Commission meeting. The purpose of the special meeting is to discuss the options available to the City Council regarding the upcoming November municipal election. So at the closing of the nomination period, which was this past Friday at 4 o'clock, the 3 incumbent council members whose seats are currently up for election were the only individuals to complete the nomination process and qualified for their respective districts. Those districts are District 1, Councilmember Mario Rodriguez; District number 3, Mayor Albert Mendez; District number 4, Councilmember Carrie Brogy. So as a result, each of these candidates is currently unopposed. And during the special meeting, staff will bring to you and present to you all the options that are available under the California election law. We're going to outline the applicable statutory requirements and necessary council actions and discuss the anticipated fiscal savings associated with not conducting an election, if that's the option that the council decides to take. This meeting is open to the public. We encourage public participation, and the agenda will be published along to following our requirements through the Brown Act, which is 24 hours prior. We'll try to have it published sooner, but it's typically 24 hours before the meeting time, which is Wednesday, the 19th at 7:30 p.m., following the Planning Commission meeting. That concludes my update.
Thank you.
you.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, so moving on, council will now move on to closed session, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. The city council will conduct a closed session pursuant to government code sections 54956.9D2 because there is a significant exposure to litigation in 3 cases. Okay, I'd like to reconvene the meeting for August 11th, 2026. Council met in closed session on 3 items and no reportable action. I will now adjourn this meeting until the next regular scheduled meeting, August 25th, 2026. Oh, and we have a special meeting
Next Wednesday,
next Wednesday
7:30 p.m.
at 7:30 p.m. here at the council chambers.